are you really able to close the deal? You know, like, is the AI, is the artificial intelligence going to be able to really take that tenant and get them over the line, or is it still the personal touch?
Andrew Layton, thank you so much for joining me.
Love being here, Chris. Thank you for having me.
You were one of the first keynotes to speak with an array of leaders, from developers, investors, community builders, management teams, technologists here, all in Austin, Texas for 3 days. Over 1,500 people, I think it is.
Largest ever.
Amazing. And how long has it been going? Like 15, 20 years?
I started coming here and started coming to this in 2008.
Okay.
When it wasn't even in Austin, Texas. It was in Dallas, Texas at the Four Seasons Las Colinas Resort. Maybe there were 200 people that came. And now, look at it now, 1,500 plus and growing every year, biggest crowd ever. Super Bowl student housing.
Why is this so big? You know, this interface here in Austin, Texas, where people come in, we have 1,500 plus people. You said what? Owners, developers, investors,
you name
brokers?
It. Every aspect of student housing is here. Owners, operators, third-party service providers, technology, you name it, it's here. And it's important because this industry is scattered nationally, if not internationally, and it's truly the one moment during the year you can build relationships. And that's where, you know, look, at the end of the day, deals get done because of the interpersonal relationships that many times are launched on this floor in this building here at the JW Marriott.
Awesome. And you've been coming, I haven't been here in 6-7 years, but it's great to see, you know, you've got BI, obviously in the world of AI, you've got hardware, software, but especially like the discussions, people really enjoy hopping in with the CEOs, the leaders. What is it, you know, you did one of the kickoffs.
Right.
What were you talking about? What was some of the debates you were discussing or some of the challenges?
Look, I mean, I think there's a lot of data out there, right? And I got to lead a whole panel really diving into the data that's available, you know, right now that talks about the state of the industry, whether it's enrollment, you know, which continues to flourish at the flagship schools around the country. You're continuing to see growth, and therefore the focus of many investors and owner operators in what we call the Power Four conferences, the larger schools. But I think there's still some opportunities out there at the secondary schools as well to get deals done. They're still, you know, not quite growing at the same rate as the flagship schools, but still showing talent. I think at the tertiary schools less than 10,000, you know, they're at risk, and you're seeing less and less deals in that particular area. You know, we looked at, you know, we looked at that. We looked at supply. I think supply is really the big story of 2026 interface. Why? Well, you know, whether you take it from College House, whether you take it from RealPage, over the next 24 months, we're looking from anywhere between 80,000 and 100,000 beds coming in. We have not seen that volume of unit supply of new development since 2019. It's been a long time.
So, and when you're talking about, is that all new development, or is any of that redevelopment and moving up from
new development, and that doesn't even count. You know, that's not counting on campus. That's not counting redevelopment. That is new supply coming into the market, and what its impact is going to be on the industry as a whole.
Amazing. And so in the markets, and you're analyzing these markets pretty closely to see, okay, the amount of demand for these units. You know, I've heard, for instance, in California that there's a massive, still high demand and not enough supply.
Yeah, and I think you got the regulatory issue. You have the regulatory issues in California, which in many markets continue to be really difficult. I mean, you went to UCSB, right? Almost impossible to build there. Isla Vista. I mean, I'd kill to own there, right? Who wouldn't? But very hard. I mean, very hard to get anything done there. Coastal Commission, things of that sort get in the way. So, funny enough, though, you have seen developments happen in California. In fact, it was interesting to see where the largest development, we put a slide up showing the states with the largest development, whether it's California, Texas, Michigan. Shockingly, Michigan and Ohio. You know, and it's not where, it's like Michigan. I think a lot of that's in Ann Arbor, which has had significant development over the last couple of years.
And I'm curious, because sometimes supply comes to where the demand is, but sometimes supply goes where the capital and incentives go.
Great point.
So how do you think about that, and where are you
Well,
seeing
I think you have a lot of
example?
you have a really deep real estate investor pool out of Chicago, many of which are Michigan alums, many of which you still have, for lack of a better phrase, the ego to want to own there. So, and the school keeps growing too, so you continue to have real supply there. You're seeing, you're starting to hear rumblings of more at Michigan State too, but it hasn't yet quite materialized. But in time, we know it will. Michigan State's been a great market to be in.
Let's talk about the power schools.
Yeah.
So someone had shared a state with me. It might have been one of your colleagues who shared that it was roughly like maybe there were 200 and something markets. And now that's moved down to about 160 or so markets. Are you
I would even tell you it's less than that.
Really?
I mean, I think it's probably closer to 100
that are growing?
Yeah, I think, and it's really the power school. I mean, it's really those big conference schools. There are a handful of secondary. That's why I said you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because there definitely are schools that are investable, whether it's Texas State, whether it's UCF, USF, Kennesaw State, locally. Georgia Southern's doing very well right now. You got to follow the population trends. It's not the directional schools in the Midwest. It's really, where's the population going? You're continuing to see the influx of kids from the Northeast and from the Midwest into the Southeast. That continues to this day. It's what's really fostering the growth of all these schools. Look at the University of Virginia this year. Applications up 18,000.
Wow.
At University of Virginia this year, out of left field.
18,000 new applications from nowhere.
Increase.
And that's not AI. That's real people.
That's I think it was from 64,000 to 82,000 applications this year.
Okay.
In Charlottesville.
What about their acceptance?
I think it still remains to be seen. I haven't looked into that yet, but but you're continuing to see that. University of Georgia, great
school.
SEC school, big school, continuing to see massive influx of kids from the Northeast, and out-of-state applications continuing to surge as kids want to come south.
How much do the universities and colleges share with you, the off-campus providers sometimes, especially if they're not partnering with you? How much do they share that data with you so that you can be prepared?
Well, you have the public data that that they're required to put out. I mean, I think a lot of times if you're an owner-operator, nothing beats being in person. Like I built my career on showing up at somebody's door unannounced and just sitting down and having a conversation with people. That's where, if you want to talk about where the gold is in those relationships. The ability to bond with somebody face to face, even if you catch them off guard, even as an ex-reporter, best time to get somebody when they're not necessarily prepared for you. You'll get more out of it. I mean, we stumbled into that years ago at University of Oklahoma, where I just showed up at the doorstep at the head of enrollment. I got 5 minutes. Well, that 5 minutes became an hour, and that hour became one of our best investments at all time.
Amazing.
In University of Oklahoma.
Yeah. So the in real life pertains to getting business done, whether it's developments, acquisitions, dispositions,
absolutely,
hiring talent. You shared a great story about getting to know the students and figuring out what was wrong in the market.
Absolutely.
With housing and the shift into NIL. But I think even here at these events, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the events are tougher," but I always joke. How many meetings can you really have in 48 hours? You're not going to have 1,000, but can you have, for you, when you look at these events, what does a successful event look like for you in terms of number of meetings or engagement?
I think it's more about engagement, right? I view it as the depth of the conversation rather than the number of volume of conversations. I want to know, I use this as my time to get as much market intelligence as possible. When I say market intelligence, I mean of the broader real estate market. And one of the takeaways is you're seeing less product right now. People are very much concerned about pre-leasing being a little bit behind. Now, my portfolio, I'll speak selfishly, we're on par pre-leasing wise, where we are last year, literally flat, like not behind, but not ahead. Okay, we had a good year last year with that. But across the board, I think there's the investor sentiment from the equity providers. They want to see how this is going to end up. So there's less deals on the market. I was with a broker yesterday, one of my most trusted allies. Previous years, 20 plus deals. This year, 6.
Wow.
So and I said, what's going on? I said, people are waiting. People are holding off until they see the finality. Nobody's taking that leap of faith this year as to where pre-leasing is going to end up.
Interesting.
A little bit more of a wait and see attitude.
Very helpful. I think, one of the other key things, state of the market for the first quarter. This is the end of first quarter, 2026. What are you seeing that maybe people aren't seeing from the outside of the industry in student housing? Or something that stands out to you that you have a different viewpoint on?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to operations.
Okay.
Look, we've had the last several years winded our sails. Continued growth. I mean, from an operations perspective, obviously interest rates is a different issue altogether. But from an operations perspective, you had winded your sails, increasing enrollment, moderate supply pipeline, robust occupancy rates, the ability to push rents. Now we're staring at 80 to 100,000 beds, assuming they are able to successfully raise the capital to get those deals done.
Yeah.
That presents a whole new challenge. And, I have a great relationship with, Redstone out in Salt Lake City area, and Jake Jarman, great guy. And we talk about this all the time. You can have peacetime operations and wartime operations. And I don't use that loosely, but,
Sure.
but meant more metaphorically. When the wind's at your sails and you don't have to do a lot,
Yeah.
and the people are just flowing in like the tide coming in, great, But now you're faced with adversity. Now you're faced with challenges. Now the rates, you're not able necessarily to push rates. So what's the battle plan, right?
Yep.
And this is really hard for a lot of groups who don't know this. It's like if you don't have the right personnel and have the right mindset, it is hand-to-hand combat. You have to show the initiative to go out and fight for those leases. They're not going to necessarily come to you. Because you have to go out. What is your battle plan to do it? And if you don't have the right people leading that effort, you're going to have a major operational issue, especially in light of new supply. Because I'll tell you what, cutting rates is not always the answer. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, and this is the big thing between third party and a vertically integrated company.
Yep.
Third party, they're always worried about their occupancy reputation. Are they getting your property filled?
Yep.
Ask the question. If you're new to the business, ask the question: how are you getting it done? Are you concessing it to death? Are you slashing rates? Are you giving away gift cards? Or are you implementing a leasing strategy?
Yes.
Are you buying the right technology or implementing to effectively increase? Make sure that you can push through the headwinds to get the property leased.
Yep. I think about, and that's a great segue into technology. So we think about, there's easily probably 80 to 150 vendors here, and people are spending a lot of their time. I've been talking to a lot of folks who are looking at technology, implementing right now.
Yeah.
They're down to the wire and having those last minute in-person meetings. And I think to your point, networking, relationship building and trust happens in person, because when you're going to make a technology bet, I used to be on procurement, we weren't doing it for a year. We were doing it, hey, if I'm going to test this with you and it works, it could be 5 to 7 years I'm going to be working with you. What are the tech pieces right now that you think stand out in the industry of student housing that are really important?
To me, a lot of it remains safety, safety, safety.
Okay.
I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen to you as an owner is crime happening at your property.
Sure.
I'm a parent.
Yeah.
I have 2 children, one of whom is in college right now. You have to sleep at night knowing that your kid is safe.
Yep.
The reputational risk of something bad happening at a particular property can set you back 3-4 years. Right. It'll take a generation of students for you to get through it if it's bad enough. So to me, I'm really focused, one of the things I'm looking for, because I've lived it in certain ones of my properties, right? Mm-hmm. I've had homeless issues. I won't go into too much detail here, but enough things that as a parent keep me up at night.
Yep.
And need to be addressed. I'm really focused on how can we address the safety issue, because as an investor, the last thing I want is to watch my property go backwards for 4 years. They have to wait 4 years to get it going again. But also as a parent, I have an obligation to other parents out there to make sure their child is safe living with me.
Absolutely. So safety, security, crime. I think employees as well.
Absolutely.
But also, let's talk about engagement. So opportunities for a better experience. I always joke that student housing is basically the Ritz-Carlton of housing.
Absolutely.
Right? And you go in and, there are companies here doing bowling alleys, incredible top-of-the-line gyms and massage chairs, but also the golf simulators. What are some things you're seeing in that world that maybe you're excited about? Because there's always a need versus want debate.
Pickleball.
Pickleball. Is that huge?
Pickleball.
Oh, really?
Oh, massive.
Is that number like top?
I'll tell you what, if I could put pickleball in all my properties, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Awesome.
It has caught fire. Like, we put it in on a whim at our property in Louisville, and then the thing is sold out. I mean, literally, the times get...
So you're renting it out?
No, we offer it as a but they have to
cool.
schedule times to go in.
Yeah.
Kids can't get enough of it. I mean,
awesome.
people used to put it in the volleyball courts, she came like as a maintenance issue, keeping the sand and all.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm not saying that you don't have issues with the pickleball courts, but I'll tell you what, given it's great because you could go out with a friend, 3 friends, go out, play. It's fantastic.
I love it.
And kids love it.
What else should I have asked you that I didn't ask you about, Andrew?
Ooh, baby.
Maybe a hot conversation that you've had over the last 2 days that has been on top of your mind, or maybe something that you're excited about you're curious about going deeper on.
Well, I think there's still a lot to be done. I mean, look, I think from a marketing perspective in our industry, I think we're still 15 years behind the curve.
Okay.
I think this is, to me, one of the major things. There are people who think they understand marketing, think they understand social media. I have to tell you, in my business, in my mind, they are so far behind where my own kids are in terms of how they leverage and utilize social media to their advantage. I think there's a lot of learning going. Why is that? Because you have a lot of people that are running leasing and marketing that are 2 generations removed from the kids who are using it. Do they really understand what the 18 to 22-year-old mindset? If you're not on campus interfacing with these kids, understanding what their needs are, what moves the needle with them, you're at a loss. And I'm sorry, if you're not in touch with that, I'll give you a case in point. I mean, I have people that I hire, to represent my property. And I got into this, like, we could use, nice young lady or whatever. It's like, or somebody from our own property. It's like, well, they might get 100 views. Great. I hire somebody who I know has the right following, who really puts out quality product for it. I used somebody in Louisville the other day, 76,000 views.
Wow.
76,000 views. Now, they asked me how she did it. God only knows. But the reality is, if you're not leveraging that successfully, you're missing it.
I mean, there isn't probably a college that doesn't have socialites and that are Instagram.
But here's Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you don't alienate other groups, right? So you can't just pick, and this is something I've told my own team, be very careful what you wish for. Because you have to find somebody who is well received, not just by their own small niche group, but by the broader audience. You don't want to have somebody necessarily who's nichey, because that's not really at the end of the day going to be able to get you over the hump.
Got it.
You have to have somebody who is appreciated by all parts of campus life.
Got it. I think about that a lot. Is what is niche versus what's scale, and if you think about a university, if you've got 300 units, what are the number of leads that you need to have come through the funnel? Do you have that kind of metric, or know those kinds of metrics?
My ops team will have that. I will have that metric, but.
What are some of the metrics that stand out to you, though, or maybe that you're seeing this week that excite you?
But here's the thing. I track, like, how much, because it's about brand awareness. One of the biggest misnomers in my space is, if you hire one of these people, will Chris Jr. sign a contract? It doesn't work that. And that's not really the thought process. Look, we compete in many of these large markets with 20, 25 other competitive assets. How do you stand out? What's going to get you in front of the next group of students? What's going to make them stop, look, and tour? And I would also say there's also the blessing and the curse. You hear the whole thing about AI. We don't need to tour people. And I'm like, I don't buy into that totally. Like,
Crazy.
I don't buy into that, because to get somebody over the line, they still want to see it, they want to feel it, they want to touch it. I don't subscribe to that. No. I don't subscribe to that at all. I think it can be used as a tool. It can certainly be used to fill out forms. It can be used, to give virtual tours to kids who aren't on campus yet. but nothing replaces the relationship at the end of the day. And much like we talk about location, it's
Yes.
all about, no matter what we do, it is all about the relationship at the end of the day. You're not just going to have successful lease up by having great AI. It's a part of it,
Oh yeah,
but you can't,
crazy.
it's not one at the expense of the other. It is, they have to be meshed.
Well, I love AI for an initial touch base, an
Exactly.
initial answer my questions to make sure I'm going to go through the funnel a little bit deeper. And so I don't have to get on a phone call, don't have to start an email chain.
Right.
AI can help me. What I get really frustrated with, and I'm seeing the same AI being used at many companies where I get stuck and I'm like trying and I have to wait and I can't put more comments in
Nope.
to feed it.
I have the same problem.
It doesn't make any sense. And then they close out my chapter,
Oh,
forget
yeah.
me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how did you forget who I am? This is CRM, this is AI, it should be better.
I've had that.
And then the other crazy thing is like, I want to get to a person now. Now I'm ready to go to a person. To me, that's a huge opportunity when I want a person. It's a huge opportunity to qualify that, like, why do you want a person? Or this person's maybe ready to buy. This person's ready to, and I get frustrated, especially when companies in housing or multifamily choose to say, you're too early. I can't apply. I can't think about 3 months, 5 months from now. Like, that is really surprising me. Is that
It's
something?
shocking.
Yeah.
And I get into this with some of my friends who are
Yeah.
who don't share my conviction on this. I encounter many people who take the viewpoint of like it can be like we can cut expenses. We can cut expenses, but at what cost? Really, it's like, are you really able to close the deal? Like, is the artificial intelligence going to be able to really take that tenant and get them over the line, or is it still the personal touch? To me, we're still in the service business.
Yep.
We're not robots.
Yep.
And if you think that just the computer programming gets you to the finish line alone, we're gonna have a bit of a disagreement on that. And I've had that with other management companies.
Well, Andrew, thanks for taking the time away from your busy meetings and from this event.
I love this, Chris.
I want to do a Q2 update
Let's
in
go.
just a couple months. Number two, great work. I was hearing your team at Student Quarters all about y'all, seeing the teams around the halls and how active you are, how engaging you are. There's no reason why you're continuing to grow. So I'm excited to hear about your new projects and see them when they're announced.
Looking for our next deal. So It's like we're out there hustling.
If you're a broker, send them your deals.
Come.
If you're a technology
Come.
company, they're looking at them. So thank you, my man.
Great, thank
Always
you.
great to see you. See you back in Atlanta.
You got it.